Oh my God, $11,000 to go and watch the World Cup finals. Man, if I get $11,000, I know where to put that money. Even if I have a lorry of money, I know where to put that money. $11,000 just to go and sit and watch a game. Probably you even get a heartbreak from the game. So we are back again after the long holiday. This is QTV This Morning, and I am Ibrahim Abalde. So thank you very much. How was your Easter holiday? Mine was great. I had a good time. I spent a lot of time with the families. And of course, had a lot of chill, a lot of relax, a lot of food, drink as well. When I talk about drink, I had the soft one, not the hard one. So I'm trying to clarify it. Yes, because drink can be any drink.
Yeah, you celebrated Easter like a Christian then, from what we hear, food and drink and all this stuff with the family. And just viewers, just so you know, for some of us, I don't even know what he's talking about. I was here Good Friday, I was here on Saturday. Easter Monday was my only day off. So, I'm not feeling the same
You
vibes,
didn't feel the vibe?
Same vibes that you were feeling. No, absolutely not,
Yeah, sometimes that is the balance. I mean, at some point, the news has to come on
I'm going to
TV,
switch from the news team to the marketing
marketing
team.
department.
I think so. So I can have the same.
Well, it's sometimes marketing can also be a nightmare, especially if you have events.
I'll exchange my nightmare
events
for
to
yours.
go and handle, especially the Tobaski and style is coming. It's more of the baby of QTV marketing where we...
You also slipped into calling it Tobaski and style.
Yes.
It's
Ak style.
It's Ak.
Yes.
Please.
Ak in Wolof
and
style
in
English.
The name.
No.
Okay.
The name is
Right.
Tobaski.
Tobaski Ak style.
Maybe the equivalent of ak would be with.
Yes.
Not
like with
and.
style. Yeah, quite.
Not and.
Yeah, so we
style.
are preparing for Tobaski Ak style, where we will bring together a lot of tailors. I mean, different tailors, young tailors, experienced ones, the like of Chan Khan, Malik Mendy. I mean, to come and we showcase what we have as stylist in the Gambia. So, Mr. Ade, we are looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it. And yesterday I watched a program. It was a documentary on these sapeurs, these Congolese people who dress, in kind of expensive designer wear.
Well,
and what they're saying, they're trying to transition away from, Louis Vuitton and Giorgio to locally made and designed stylish clothing. Because, some of them, if you see, they live in absolutely dreadful conditions. Yeah. One guy was not even embarrassed to say that the amount of money I've spent on clothes, I could have bought land and built a house. And yet he's living in rented accommodation and really bad. But viewers, welcome, and it's good to be back after the Easter break.
Thank you.
And we have here to review the newspapers Mr. Momodou Mboja.
Mr. Momodou Mboja, drum rolls, please.
Yes. Gentlemen.
I know you and I had a chat, and you had a lovely Easter break with friends.
A big time. I mean, he was calling it a long holiday. I'm like, it's a long weekend.
Long weekend.
Not sure whether it's a long holiday.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. I went to this place, Busy Bee, Eco Lodge. Really quite arboreal, lots of trees and birds, and so one felt like I'd just gone back to nature as it were. Don't usually do that, living in this concrete jungle, as it were.
Go ahead.
So so that was fun for me. Something like that, very homely kind of thing. Lots of family, kids all over the place. Yeah. So it felt like a proper Easter for me.
So you went to connect your soul to nature. I mean,
kinda.
It's significant sometimes to go and watch the greenery. I mean, which is very significant sometimes. It can make you relax. It can make you reflect. Sometimes, I mean, taking a day off or going somewhere very far just to go and relax yourself, relax your nerves.
You said something very interesting there, because I think sometimes we take these things for granted. When I went back to Sierra Leone about 5 years ago, I grew up at a place called Hill Station, and the whole mountain was covered in greenery then. Now there's none. I almost wept. Because people have built houses where they shouldn't have built houses. they built against planning permission, and yet nobody's demolished these houses. The greenery is gone completely. And I never realized, because as I said, when I lived there, I took it for granted. But when I looked, 15, 16 years later, as it was since the previous time, I thought, my God, this is dreadful.
Yeah. So it's significant for us to take note of these things because they are also important to exist. That's why most of these forest parks, if you travel up country, the ministries are trying to maintain the Kiang forest, the Brikama forest. These are all important things. Our forest cover, it's also very significant because the land needs to be green, Mr. Adedrame.
We've lost more than 60% of the forest cover we had 40 years ago in the Gambia. I mean, the devastation has been quite catastrophic.
And it also have its own effects. I mean, most of these living things you have, animals, sometimes they also move to other places once the forest cover is gone.
I
can remember
the habitat is gone.
There was a time when we lived in Brikama around the year 2000. There was a place that you go, you can even see rabbits.
Right.
You can see rabbits running up and down. But now all those things are no more.
When you destroy the habitat.
Well, this is it. You destroy their habitat, so they keep moving and moving until, eventually they got nowhere to move.
Absolutely.
But I remember when I used to come here about 20 years ago, if I drove from here, as in Kanifing, to places like Tangier and Gunjur 20 years ago, there were lots of areas that were bush, that were, forested sort of areas. Now they're all built up, and because obviously people want to be fairly close to the center of things. So all of that, we do it without thinking, and we don't consider the consequences.
My only problem is, I mean, the urban area is now saturated. It's populated now, and we've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to building, construction, our drainages.
Lack of planning.
So the planning is not proper. Now I can see it is filtering down. People are settling around the rural area. Let's take a look at Kombo East, for example. When you pass Brikama, going towards Jiboro, Basuri, these are places that are new settlements now. The only thing that I am appealing to physical planning, let us do a proper planning, because we know in 10 years to come, those places would also be populated.
Well, the Lands Ministry, they've heard your plea, because now we've got a proper kind of land policy for the first time, a national land policy. That's gone through the National Assembly with no opposition. Nobody opposed it, because they've realized that we need to bring sanity to this thing, to the kind of planning and so on. Whether we can implement it, which is always our problems, because we pass these laws and then we have a problem implementing them. That will be the challenge, I think.
But isn't this really the problem all over the world? The pressures of urbanization, to build new settlements. So we are sacrificing nature, the land, aren't we? So you see it all over the place. Everybody's complaining about it. Get a country in Africa, for instance, everybody's complaining about it.
I watched a documentary called Hirde Diama, which was in Conakry, Guinea-Conakry. It was done by an East German documentary company, and they did a drone shot of Guinea-Conakry in 1968. If you see how organized and clean it was, Sékou Touré, of course, was still there. It was quite a shock to see that same place to now. It's like two different countries.
So
as if they've regressed instead of progressing.
The human being, I mean, it's a very complicated being. The activities of human, due to interest base, sometimes can destroy a lot of things. So it's important for us to take heed and realize, I mean, some of the implications, I mean, certain actions can lead us to. So, hey, guys, let us not focus on the scorpion and forget about the snake, okay?
Well, this is true.
Yes, the child who listens builds a house without cracks. That's the proverb for today, on this morning. Today is the 6th of...
7th.
Today is the 7th already. Wow.
April.
The month is flying.
We're in the 4th month already, and a week already into the 4th month.
I watched a video last week, this weekend. Someone interviewed a guy and said, look, I mean, this month now, it flies very quickly. You understand? Don't you think instead of 30 days now, the month should be around 40? Things are fast now, you know. So let's focus on this.
Mr. Mbo, do you want to crack your brain with this one? The child who listens builds a house without cracks.
We've long known that listening really is a gold standard in many ways, as it were. That's where it all begins.
Indeed.
Listening. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen to what?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Wisdom.
Who do you listen
experience,
to?
Wisdom, experience, expertise, that sort of thing.
You know,
really.
when
and learning to listen. It's different. It's not hearing.
Quite.
Hearing and listening are two different things, really. So learning to listen is so crucial.
And know how to listen.
We're talking about the same thing. What does it mean?
Know how to listen. But at the end of the time, who do you listen to?
Well,
because fools get old sometimes.
Well, everybody, because the thing is, the thing about, you build a house, it's about, what is the right thing to do, the proper thing to do by listening. Because you have to then filter for yourself what is right, what is not right. If somebody says to you, don't put your hand in fire, and somebody else comes and says, hey, I put my hand in fire, nothing happened. You have to decide which of those you're going to follow. The guy who's telling you the nonsense. And so you have to sift through all the information that's coming in. What are you listening to? Are you extracting the proper thing, the right thing, to do the right thing, to do the proper thing? Whether it's, your coursework at school or college or wherever. It's quite interesting that now they're advertising this AI tool, which they said, you can attach to your computer or your laptop. And it says it allows you to listen to the meetings that you're engaged in, because it records everything. So you don't have to be writing things down and so on. And all the people who are kind of praising it are saying, it allows me now to listen properly to what everybody is saying, because I don't have to worry about, do I need to write this down and then miss something else? And so it keeps popping up on my feed.
Listening itself, I mean, we have two types of people. Some people don't listen with the intention to understand. You understand?
Then you are not listening.
Some people, they only listen with the intention to reply.
So they're not listening. So whilst you're talking, they can't wait for you to finish your sentence, and they will come and say something. But they're not listening to you. They're not listening to you at all. So they wouldn't,
because they've heard a half or a quarter of what you said.
So they're not.
And I won't name the person, but just the other day we had the perfect example of it. In the office, I was mentioning something, and one of my colleagues, I'd literally just said the first two words, and she jumped in saying, what? They did what? I said, no, let me finish. Let me finish. And, I finished the sentence, and it was completely different to what she thought I was about to say. So yes, I mean, sometimes we do need to listen, and then when you listen, you can respond properly. You can do, as we said, but it's an art in itself.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, as Mboj says, you don't listen. You just kind of want to say something because you've heard half or a quarter of what the person has said, and you want to say your own bit rather than respond to what they've said or react to what they've said or done.
Some of us who interview, we know the value of listening. Without it, you really cannot come up with a good, incisive follow-up. You have to listen and sift, as it were, what is significant, and what not so much, what is the premise of the argument, and how does the conclusion follow from it. So you are judging whatever there's on so many different levels. It's listening is really, it's active. It takes so much energy. It's an active thing.
The reason I'm laughing almost hysterically here is that I have to be honest, since I came to the Gambia, I've been to lots and lots of events where I've been with other members of the media, and the press conference is finished, and then they start asking questions that have already been addressed. And, and then the person doesn't want to embarrass them, but they will say something like, "Oh, as I said in the brief,"
Yeah.
you know. Rather, if it was me, I'd say, "Well, you're not listening."
You're not listening.
Yeah. Like,
that's exactly
please,
it. You're not listening.
I cringe
I
when I
think
sit
that happened several times here. When we follow up questions, Ade will be like, "You're not listening."
Exactly.
You know.
So it sounds so simple to listen, but it's not. It takes some effort. Really,
it's a skill.
It is a skill.
It is a skill.
It's a skill.
You see, if you are a good listener, you would be able to solve problems. I mean, let's take a look at the sample of detectives where they have to listen to witnesses, they have to listen to criminals, they have to listen to victims. You understand? So I think listening can really do a lot as far as a situation is concerned.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Understanding it first.
Yeah.
Perhaps with the understanding, then you can strategize, what do I do next, and that sort of thing. It is really, when you listen, you are summarizing in your own head what the person is saying. So that's something you are doing in your own head. And the best way, for instance, with these journalists, before you go to any press conference, you do your background, your reading.
Yeah.
That will allow you to come back with sharp, incisive questions.
At least a paragraph.
Without
you
that,
will have an understanding.
You can't.
Yeah,
you don't have the tools.
Yeah,
you need lots of facts. You need facts, arguments to
So
come
listen more and talk less. I mean, we will take a short break. After the break, the program, if you want to sponsor the program, I mean, why not contact the QTV?
And quickly, within the context of listening, some people will say God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we listen twice as much as we talk. Listen twice as much.
Listen to the 2 sides of the story. It's very significant.
Before you open your mouth.
Yes, so you are open to sponsor this program. If you want us to sell your product and services for you, this is the right platform. Contact the QTV marketing, or even if you contact QTV news department, news@qtv.gm, we will definitely link you to the QTV marketing. So we'll be right back after the break.
Join the biggest network with the cheapest tariff in the Gambia and enjoy crystal clear calls and super fast internet at the cheapest tariff, only with QCell. Rush now and grab your free QCell SIM card today from any of our care centers near you. QCell, the biggest network with the cheapest tariff. QCell Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Q Money is changing the game with mobile money payment. Now, you can pay your QCell mobile broadband plan faster, easier, and way more convenient with your Q Money wallet. Just open the Q Money app or dial *323#. Select option 4 to buy or pay your broadband plan in seconds. No stress, no lines, no last-minute panic. Whether you're streaming your favorite shows, browsing the web, or working from home, stay connected without missing a beat. Stay connected the easy way with QMoney's QCell mobile broadband payments anytime, anywhere. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Senior Carpet. Terms and conditions apply. QCell.
This is QTV This Morning. If you're just tuning in, I am Ibrahim Abalde, and this is now the newspaper review segment. And the newspaper review guest is Mr. Momodu Mboj. And co-hosting this program with me is Mr. Adidrame. So let's take a look at the Point newspaper. We have the main headline, which reads, EU backs digital system to track government's project boost transparency. Yeah, so, you know, we understand there are a lot of activities, a lot of projects that the EU, you know, have been supporting the government of the Gambia. You know, this digital age now, it's important for us to track where our finances are going and our supports, our pledges. I mean, it's important for us to know, Mr. Adedrame.
And it's important to pronounce the word as digital.
Digital.
Okay.
If it's going to be 100, I think 80% we are going to mention digital and chemical.
Yes, this is part of, we've seen how in some other countries, because they've made systems digital, it's allowed them to track certain things. It's allowed them to improve efficiency for all sorts of things, revenue collection, tracking, people's birth. For example, when I wanted to apply for my new passport, British passport, I didn't have to go anywhere. Before, you had to physically take all the papers to an office.
Yeah.
And then somebody sat behind a desk and they ticked it. Now, you have a checklist online. You tick the checklist, you send the picture that you want them to use, and using your information that they already have in the system, they just update it with your one. And honestly, within 3 days, I had my new passport.
I am happy. I did apply for a passport for someone. I
British
helped someone. No. A Gambian passport, one of the strongest passports in Africa, the Gambian passport.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened is I went to Force to apply for an ID and a passport because I can get a passport without an ID. So I went there, and I was supposed to do my application online. That's the gov.pay. So when I applied it, generated my code. I went to the bank. I paid. Then I took the receipt to immigration, and the ID card was processed, and the passport was the same thing. So digitally, we are going to control our financial leakages.
That's it, and it's more efficient. Look at it, just
easier,
how
no
quick
stress,
it was,
no hassle.
That sort of thing.
Same for my
I didn't call anybody at the
license.
corner and give you maybe $500 for speeding it. Yeah,
that's what we need to cut.
Yeah.
And so when this article talks about boosting transparency, that's what they're talking about.
Really
because like you said,
about.
Normally you'd have to pay somebody backhander for what? For a service that they're meant to be providing anyway.
Absolutely.
So yeah, bring it on. We will certainly welcome it, and we hope. But any system, you and I know, people always find a way to kind of cheat it or get around it.
All right, interesting. So let's see how it will go. Let us see how this is gonna come out. I mean, it's important. Yeah. So you want to go?
I was going to say on the Point newspaper in the top left, it says, "Good morning, Mr. President. Let justice prevail. Focus on national development." I think this is because President felt compelled to respond to and comment on the government's decision to appeal the recent
the verdict.
The verdict, yes.
Usainu Bojang
and sister Usainu and Ami Bojang verdict. He commented. He said he still believes that government will have the right to appeal, rather, and that they got the right person. So
I think if the government of the Gambia is to appeal, they have the right to do it. They can go ahead. But one thing that I am not sure is about sending shots to each other. You're not clean. You're not clear in this. You are not. I mean, I think that should be controlled. Those are the kind of conversations that we should have as a people.
How did we get to this?
Yeah.
All unnecessary. The High Court gave us its verdict regarding Usainu Bojang. Day after, the state authorities, security forces went and arrested
him again.
Over what? See, they just sort of prolonged the issue. You have a right to appeal. Everybody knows that. You don't even have to say it. Just put in the papers and you'll appeal and move right ahead. Why? You see how sometimes wrong decisions can prolong an issue when there shouldn't have been an issue at all. So look at it. To me, this is like a storm in a teacup.
I think when he was acquitted and discharged, I think at that point he should have been, just let to go home. If they are to appeal, let them do it in the background, that people don't even know the government have appealed. So I think we need to approach it holistically.
Or if you think that there's some flight risk, clear and present risk, go to a magistrate, whoever, and they will give you the...
And make your case.
So let's move on. Gambia safely returns 10 citizens from Iran. That's a good one, because we all understand the situation in Iran. Absolutely. It's not looking good. The US is sending threats. Iran is sending threats. Israel is also at the other side. So it's important. It's not sort of a safe zone at the moment.
What are you talking about? At the moment, it has not been a safe zone for a very long time. But it's just that it seems that
unsafe now.
he has upped the ante. He said he's going to bomb civilian
targets.
Targets.
Yeah,
That's a different level.
Yeah.
They're warning him that could be human rights violations.
Well, that's right.
Sort of
War
crimes,
crime.
war crimes, stuff like that. He said he doesn't care.
Yeah, but recently we've seen the Gambia government, responding to some of the citizens, calls. Let's take a look at the voters card production. Is it the ID card production? Is it in Mauritania the other time? You know, those are things that citizens need. Once they appeal to the government, this is what we want. The government is, within its power, is trying to do something for them. And the issue of Cameroon, Eso Nyasi was in Cameroon last week, I think.
That's right, yes.
The Gambian citizens in Cameroon and descendants of Gambians also met the vice president and appealed to, okay, we are here. This is our concern. And some of us want to return home, but unfortunately, it's difficult because we don't have papers to return home. So I think those are the things that they will address as well.
Not just those who wanted to return home, but also there were some there who said that because we are Gambians, we need some sort of Gambian ID, even if we are staying in Cameroon. And they don't have that, and we don't have an embassy there. We don't have a consul there, consular office there. So those were some of the things there. So yes, these 10 who've been brought back from Iran is another example of and other countries are also taking, because it's not safe to be there right now.
So we talk about the fuel price as well. It's like they've increased $15 on petrol and diesel as well. So these are things that we should also take a look into. At some point, what are we doing? In Gambia, we don't have any reserve.
According to the minister who gave an interview in fact, we're hoping to speak to him today, and he said we don't have reserves if this situation is prolonged. And I guess we kind of knew that, because we kind of get complacent. Nothing had happened that had made us think, oh, we need to have this huge amount of reserves. Now that the worst has happened, we just hope the war ends and we get back to some sort of sanity.
That is really the key. How long?
How long?
The longer it goes on, the more difficult it becomes for all of us. Things will get worse. For how long?
So let's still move on, Mr. Adirame. We are now skipping the Pawn newspaper. We did not enjoy any route, says Nyamina West lawmaker, as he demands answers from government. Nyamina East, is one of the projects of
West.
Okay, rather one of the projects of President Adama Barrow. Is to make sure he connects the Gambia, and which he is doing, as far as we are saying. You know what Fulani people say? Bariru wata innu anyundu kono wata innu nyijeden raunani. The Fulani, you want me to translate?
Yeah, please.
The Fulani will say, okay, you can hate the dog, but you cannot depict or you cannot refuse the dog teeth are white. You understand? So you have to accept their teeth is always white. You understand? So, but you can hate the dog, but the teeth are white. You cannot depict that.
In this particular concept,
how do you apply?
Yes. So now
you're saying that development is continuing.
We are seeing
it's
coming gradually.
It's gradual.
And I am pretty sure it will reach
Nyamina West. Yes.
I am pretty sure about that.
Because of course he's the National Assembly member. He wants it in his constituency. Of course he does. But we can't do everywhere all at once. And those that have had roads, they're grateful. They're not saying we don't want it. So, as you said, eventually,
it will be there. It will get there, Mr. Momodumboji.
Yep. For me, I would love to hear what the government has to say about this. When they were prioritizing, where do we build roads? Perhaps they thought about it, but maybe other areas sort of need more urgent, immediate action before Nyamina. You just do not know what's the thinking behind it. You say what you do not like is for these development projects to be politicized because of this constituency. They voted opposition, therefore we didn't take anything there. As long as you don't have that, they have all sorts of ways of, itemizing, prioritizing when to build what, where, that sort of thing.
Well, I think this country, we need to be a little bit patient sometimes. Although developments, you know, sometimes can be very slow, and it's normal for us to come out and say these things. Tomorrow, even those with roads will tell you, you know, our water is not very clean. We need clean water, you understand? So it's part of it.
It's in the human DNA to never be satisfied with what you have. Even in the so-called first world, there are people complaining about things. And, you know, sometimes we make jokes about them and say, oh, these are first world problems. It's human nature. You know, we're never, ever, ever, ever going to be satisfied. You know, there are people who, they're not satisfied with living wherever they are, and they want to move to somewhere else.
Absolutely.
And in this particular foray, it's almost as if they're kind of poking fun at the NAM, because in the bottom right, President Barrow concludes nationwide foundation laying for 264.7 kilometers of feeder roads, the very thing that he's complaining about. And we saw him in Fonyi, and they were very, very happy, and you know, they welcomed.
Even we have seen even a cross carpet in the Fonyi.
Well, we did and we didn't.
Yeah.
One never really achieves development. It's always work in progress.
Yeah, quite.
At any point you reach, at any point you're at, this, you can still improve in this or improve. So it's always work in progress.
Mr. Momodumboj, I'll ask you this question. I mean, let's try to establish this first. I mean, we've seen the days of, I've seen the little days of former President Jawara. You understand? And we've also seen Yahya Jammeh. I've been here from '94 to 2016. I've seen the development piece of Yahya Jammeh. I don't know of Jawara much, you know, in the '60s. I've seen Adama Barrow. So let's try to gauge infrastructure, rural development during this three leaders' term. I have not seen a person or a president that achieved so much than President Adama Barrow.
Now, that's an interesting statement. What do we mean by infrastructure? That's one. And each regime, well, you are dealing with specific circumstances. The problems we faced in the 1960s, just after independence, different from the problems that Jammeh faced in the 1990s, not least because the world was changing, everything was changing. And now Barrow, look at, it's in the period of Barrow, we're talking about digitalization. This is the time for it. Remember that all the parastatals, the institutions, do you know how many institutions that Jawara built? That's all part of the infrastructure, because we didn't have that.
He put up the structure.
He didn't
You're
have
telling
that.
me he is, okay, he put up the structure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And even roads. Do you know the kilometers of road we had in 1965? Do you know? So this is the key. Or health centers. Do you know? How many schools? Do you have any idea? That's all part of infrastructure, really. Infrastructure is not simply about roads and electricity. It's about institutions as well.
It's part of it.
So that's it. So each regime, Jawara's regime, faced specific circumstances and tried to deal with that. Jammeh faced yet another set of circumstances. Likewise, Barrow now. So it is difficult to compare in that sense.
Well, so it's telling you governance. I mean, it's a continuation.
That's it.
It's where it started. You
Always.
understand?
Yeah, and development.
So
always work in progress.
No one leader can do. Probably
Exactly.
the things that Jawara started, I mean, he did some and left some for Jammeh.
Of course.
Let's talk about the case of Gambia Radio and Television Service, GRTS TV. Those were all projects of former President Jawara. Then when Jammeh came, he initiated that project. And now, you know, Jammeh is gone, Barrow is here.
Before Jammeh, we did not have a university, by the way.
Absolutely.
We have the University of the Gambia.
It's a relay race.
And now we have a civil service university.
Really?
We have, you know, different schools that are now being... So it's a continuous process, as Mboj rightly says. But to be honest, there's still a lot that needs to be done, and that's why it will never end. The reason we're talking about all these feeder roads being built is because, and even the roads that we've just seen built in the last 5, 6, 7 years, the reason they're being built is because they weren't there. You know, we needed them and they were not there, and that's a stone cold fact. You can't get away from it.
Well, you see, for the good thing is, I mean, President Barrow has been here during Jammeh's time. He's been living like any other ordinary citizen. He's seen the concerns and the problems that the people were facing. Probably that will also propel him to implement some of these projects.
Look, if you are a human being, you cannot sort of exist and not, unless you're living in a bubble. You know that, I know the farmers were having problems getting their crops to market because of poor roads. I know that people in a particular community did not have a health center, did not have a hospital. You have to know these things because, first of all, there are National Assembly members from those regions that will tell you about these things, and you respond to them. But as Mboj says, I go again, it's a continuous process. And as this NAM, who started our conversation, is complaining that they haven't seen the roads yet, it'll come.
Probably it will happen. We can remember, during Jammeh's days, Kiang was deprived from getting electricity, no proper routes, you understand?
Why was that?
Political motivated.
You understand? What we were talking about.
When Barrow came, Kiang electrified. So, I mean, we should be there. And I'm not saying you will get roads when Barrow leaves. Probably Barrow is having that plan. And, the intention of every government is to make sure there is access to good roads and electricity, healthcare for its people wherever you are. Because during election time, the ballot box reaches all the remote villages. So it's their right to get it.
And before election time, everybody who wants your vote will come and promise you the earth. We will do this for you, we'll do that for you.
Yes. So at this point, we'll take a short break. Mr. Mamadou Mboj, thank you very much for reviewing the stories with us. And we hope to engage you this week again.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so viewers will be right back after the break.
QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Gambia, are you ready for something big?
From your trusted GSM operator, QCell, your favorite app just got a major upgrade.
From your phone to the world, buy credit, buy Sunu bundle packages, loan credit with eFankanta, and buy Q Power all in one place.
And here's the real upgrade. Q Money is now fully integrated in the app. Send money, pay bills, save money, so faster and easier than ever.
And for our entertainment lovers, stream QTV, Q Radio Live anytime, anywhere.
But that's not all. This upgrade also brings enhanced security features, smoother performance, and a brand new interface designed to save your time.
This is more than an app.
This is freedom at your fingertips.
Download the new QCell app today and unlock your digital life.
For more information, call our customer care on 111.
QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Browse with us. QCell brings you a promo like never before. Get unlimited internet for just $25 Cs. Yes! Recharge $25 Cs and enjoy the convenience of free internet from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day with our Browse with Us promo. With this amazing offer, you can browse, stream, and download all your favorite movies for free. So why wait? Recharge $25 Cs today and enjoy free internet only with QCell between 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
These tracks have become my wall, my arena of victory and fear. I relentlessly walk, push, strain, and stretched. Moments when every fiber of my being screams, give up. But the fire within me won't let me quit. Despite the burning muscles, in this sport, every moment matters. Every second counts. My failures, my dreams, my pain, my triumphs, they propel me forward beyond all limits.
Watching QTV this morning, I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back after the break. Let's head to the third segment of this program, and we have the Yali Gambia chapter advances youth leadership and national development, and we have Aisha Saho Sissoho, chair lady Yali RLC West Africa alumni chapter of the Gambia. It's good to have you. And we also have Buba, advisory board member of the chapter as well. So it's good to have you here, gentlemen.
Shall we explain some of these abbreviations we're using?
Yes,
YALI,
please.
Young Africa Leaders
Initiative. Yes.
And RLC, Regional Leadership Centers. Yes. So RLCs. So just so we get that out of the way.
It's good to have you here,
yes.
Buba and Aisha.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So we would like to start with to understand what is youth leadership when you talk about it. Let's start with Aisha.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for having us here this morning. As you rightly mentioned, I am the chairlady, the current chairlady of the Yali RSC Gambia chapter. So the chapter is basically a community of young people that have been trained in different tracks. You have training in civic engagement, which has to do with civic management. We have training in business and entrepreneurship. We also do training in public policy and management. And so once these young people are trained, the expectations is that after training you come back home and then put this training into practice. And so to answer your question, what is youth leadership? It's basically the type of leadership that is led by the youth. And the belief is that the country or the continent or the world at large, there's always handing over of the baton that is happening. And so for our leaders, the current leaders, to actually entrust that role of responsibility to the younger ones, there's a need for the younger ones to be trained to know what exactly they're getting themselves into. And so that's where the leadership training comes into play. Training the young people to take over the leadership mantle of.
So you're smiling because we're all Africans here. And leaders are not in the habit of handing over to anybody.
You just took the word from my mouth.
I suspect. I knew you were going there.
Yes.
But if I could bring in Buba Fati on this point.
Yes.
I mean, we think of people like Paul Biya, we think of people like Denis Sassou Nguesso,
Yes.
and countless others who have, used Yoweri Museveni and so on. We talk about leaders who have no intention of handing over. Those who I've just mentioned, the one who's been there the shortest time has been there 39 years. One's been there 42 years. But Buba, Aisha mentioned about civic engagement. People are trained in civic engagement and then they come back. So they come back and they do what? Do they then place themselves with an organization, with an entity? How do they engage civically? Just to take one aspect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Drame. Thank you very much for having us. And just to add on to what Isa have just already said, with regards to youth leadership, of course, it is for young people to take that deliberate action, that it is important for them to participate in decision making. And to come to your answer, of course, when young people are trained in civic leadership, when they come back to this country or to their respective countries, sometimes some of them will create initiatives. For instance, they will come up with either a civil society organization or an NGO that will be working in the communities to engage the citizens about their rights, about fundamental issues that they can be able to discuss. But some of them are going to be with organizations, like NGOs, like myself. When I was receiving my training, I was working with the Gambia Press Union.
Right.
So I continued with my job as at the Gambia Press Union as an accountant, but also engaging with journalists, building capacities of journalists, because we know journalism is the forte estate. And as a matter of fact, it was for me to be engaging with journalists, to participate in capacity building of journalists, and then also making sure that we have freedom of information, access to information. So these are some of the roles that young people that have been trained as civic leaders will come back to their communities and engage in different ways to be able to make sure that citizens are aware of their rights, but also understands that they have a responsibility.
And just to say to the person who's calling Buba whilst he's on air, he's not about to pick up your call, so hang up.
So Aisha, what support, I mean, do young people need?
Wow, that's a good one.
That's a big one.
That's a very big one. Training, excuse me. Training in the sense that, first of all, a person that does not know, you can't really hold them accountable. And so there's really the need for young people to be supported in terms of training, capacity building. Mr. Ade just made mention that leaders find it very difficult to hand over the responsibility to the younger one. It could be perhaps they don't really have the trust to hand this role to the younger people, or they don't really see that sense of responsibility. And so there's a need for capacity building, for skill development among the young people. I think also there's a need for patriotism at the national level, as Buba rightly mentioned, to train these people when it comes to civic engagement. First of all, active citizens. What does it require for you to be an active citizen? Sure. You need to understand your constitutions. You need to understand not just the responsibility, your rights, but also your responsibility. So these are some of the trainings that I think it's really needed for young people. And of course, when we also look at things from the business perspective, there's a need for training on leadership and ethics in business, accountability, because you don't expect to compete on a global standard when you don't really exude that professionalism, you don't have ethical behavior as a business leader, because ultimately scaling up will become very, very difficult. So these trainings, basically, I would say that's the primary thing. And of course, trust. I think there's also a need for the older generation to have trust in the younger one through mentorship as well, by mentoring the younger people and then guiding them. There's a need. We all need, I always say a mentor is like a torch. They don't really push you to the right, to the path for you to go. Exactly. So there's a need to bridge that gap, because whatever the older generation may be assuming, there may be a disconnect between them and then the younger one.
True.
Yeah.
We all understand most of our young people are now engaging on this backway route. You understand?
Most.
Yeah,
don't,
most
don't
of
say
them.
that.
Most of them. I mean, when you look at the number of people, even recently, there have been an interception.
It's a big challenge.
You know, an interception by you know, to be migrants. I mean, people who want to engage on the backway. You understand?
It's a lot.
So you can see how you know, the youth are losing confidence in the systems as well. So what should we do to make sure these people are retained? I mean, given the real-time training, I mean, to change the mindset of these people.
So I'm glad the yearly focuses on these 3 key tracks, which is civic engagement, policy and management, and also business.
Yes, and entrepreneurship.
Yes, I believe this kind of work together hand in hand for a country, any country to move forward, because policies also inform the decision that people take and everything. But when you look at the civic engagement part of it, one thing that is happening currently within the yearly ecosystem, we do have some of our members that actually embarked on this journey.
I was going to say exactly that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They went, they had a terrible experience, they came back and formed an association, like an NGO, and the role is basically just to go meet communities, tell parents, please do not sponsor your children to embark on this journey, because it's very deadly, and also encourage the young one. And I think partnership is also another way, especially with the IOM, of course, to raise more awareness on the dangers of embarking on these journeys. But more important than anything, like I said, these tracks are complementary, because once there are, you have to let people, the young people, believe that the grass is greener where you water it. So you can make it here. You can start, you see these young people from Guinea that will come and start selling peanuts. Or cola nuts. Next thing you know, they have a small kiosk. Next thing you know, they have a shop. So it's the belief that we instill into our young people, and also what we put to them, but to also push for this spirit of entrepreneurship. so that everyone, the government cannot provide you with all the jobs that you need.
I mean, because one of the reasons I wanted to come in is because when we use these, we have to be careful. We can't say most young people are doing this. But if anybody's a regular watcher of this program, they might want to switch off now, because I'm going to mention something which I've mentioned many, many times before. I went to cover a project at a program at the Sadada Jawara Conference Center, and it was to do with young people and entrepreneurship. And I noticed that there were 12 young women who had done businesses. Some of them made cufflinks, some of them made bow ties and neckties, some of them made soaps and so on. I said, oh, you know, it was one of these things that were trying to encourage entrepreneurship amongst young people. So I said, oh, was it for women only? And they said, no. They said there were 20 of us. 7 of the men took the $10,000 and went on this back way. And the 12 women decided to stay here and do the business. So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. You know, and so it's not a simple, it's a very complex thing. Because why is it that those guys decided to do that? I was really shocked when they told me. In fact, when we came back, included that in the story that we did about the project, because it really was quite stark to me that out of 20, you know, 12 women decided, 7 guys, and only 1 guy stayed. 7 of them took the money and ran. I couldn't believe it. And that was just one project.
It's very sad.
You know, which we tried.
I just want to add on to what Isa have actually said regarding patriotism. I think that is a key thing in the whole of this, because young people need to understand that we have a country to build together. And for me, I always say it, and I'm going through the back way and leaving this country will not be the solution. Because like you said, it is important for us to stay home and see what we can be able to do together and build this nation. And of course, it is, even though that is there, but it's also the responsibility of government to provide that enabling environment for young people to be able to strive. Because we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs who are young people and are striving very well in this country.
I mean, I think sometimes when we say these things, I almost think that we're romanticizing patriotism. Because yes, people should be patriotic, but some of those people that we're talking about, they've been funded by family members, even their own parents, to say, if you go abroad, you'll be able to remit, you know. And when you have people remitting for small Gambia, close to or over $1 billion a year, there's a lot of pressure on people to say, yes, you know, the guy would say, yes, I can stay home and be patriotic, or I can go to Spain and be a cleaner and send $100 a month or 100 euros a month for my family. So how do we kind of get beyond the rhetoric and the thing to convince people that this is, because it's as he says, it is a problem, because the numbers are not going down. You know, they've always been quite high. And you know, even when people thought, oh, with a sort of different political dispensation, we might see those numbers drop. It's been,
unfortunately,
you know,
they're going up.
They're going up. You know, so how do we flick the switch to make people make that change?
Well, I think it is a collective responsibility. It takes the young people like us, the early alumni, and then also it takes government, the private sector, and everybody, our parents as well. It takes a collective responsibility, because like you said, of course we are seeing a lot of young people are going out there and remitting to this country. Of course we can see that sometimes it changes the lives of their parents and their families and so on. But also we have to also understand that we have a lot of our young people out there who are not with jobs. They're sitting down there, but they're not able to remit anything. And some of them are still on the back way. On the journey, they are not able to reach where their destinations are.
I know a guy that spent 4 years still in Tunis.
I know somebody over 10 years is in Libya. Over 10 to 15 years he's still in Libya. He has not gone anywhere. And even to come back home to get married and get a family, he can't do it.
And when that guy is lucky to even cross to maybe Spain or Italy, he will have to spend another 5-10 years
before he can be able to do something. So these are some of the things we need to understand. And then when even we are doing that, we are looking at our economy has been taken care of by a lot of foreigners out there. You go to our markets today, you see realize that even selling vegetables is done by Sierra Leoneans and some other foreigners. We can do it. For me, that's the issue.
We're building a brand new headquarters across from where we are right now. And again, I've mentioned this many times. I went there one day and I heard everybody speaking Creole.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking 40
Yeah.
of the 52 laborers
Are
are
all-
Sierra Leonean.
Yes.
Like, how the hell is
Yesterday,
that?
yesterday
How is that?
I was
You
in
never
Jamaica.
find that situation in Sierra Leone.
You can have a lot of examples.
That's ridiculous.
Once my Fulani people didn't bake bread in the Gambia,
And
the following day,
we will
no
not have
Gambian
breakfast.
is going to have
Absolutely,
bread.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So those are things that we can explore. You understand? You know, I have a coffee shop on the main road. During weekends, I sell coffee there.
Right.
So most people will, Balde, you selling coffee? I sell coffee.
Yes.
I mean, coffee takes care of my family needs. So I you know, these are things that we should change that mindset. I mean, we have to make it here.
I agree.
I just want to add on to that, and I think that is why sometimes the local government also comes into play. I like you said, the issue of the breads and whatever. I always felt that these local authorities also have a huge responsibility. We can be able to have a community bakeries where we can employ our young people to be able to work there in agriculture. You know, a lot of things that we can do. But I think our duty bearers sometimes are not very much focused on how can we help, because you realize that sometimes we give a lot of entrepreneurs training to our young people, but we did not give them any tools or means to be able to do that, because you have a lot of our young people who are trained in businesses. They are living and going to the back way because they don't have a startup capital.
Right.
Or for instance, when they are into business, they are not empowered in such a way that to be able to have access to the markets, so they cannot be able to sell their produce.
Sure.
So these are all issues that are complex, but it is for us to come together and see how we can
So
find a
Aisha,
solution.
it's important for us to know how often do you also engage government authorities as to plight of youth. It's important. Sometimes it's important for someone to knock into the doors of the government and tell them this is what the youth want.
And the private sector.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
let's not put it all at the feet of
Yes.
government.
Yeah.
Really.
I would have even gone lower down to even at the parental level, at the family level, because what is stopping a family, a father, from giving their child that money to say start that coffee shop instead of going to the back way?
Yes.
You know, once they feel the support from the family, I think there's so much expectations that is being put, especially on the male children, and they have so much pressure that they think they have to go somewhere else to make it. So that is at the family level.
Yeah.
But with the government right now, the steps that we are taking, we've sent letters proposing for partnerships, and we have it in our work plan to start having this roundtable engagement where we involve government officials from the youth and sports, the NYC,
So these roundtable engagements, would they be on a regular rotating basis? What's the structure of it?
We're looking at it on a quarterly basis.
Quarterly.
On a
Okay.
quarterly basis. And so we sit and then we have honest discussion, dialogue, honest discussion, and propose solutions. Because what we can do is to propose and then see how best government can also support. And in the area of business, as you mentioned, you do have quite a number of young people that have great ideas, but the funding, the initial capital. And for those that have already also started, how to help them scale up.
Right.
Because it's not just start a business and then every day you're just making 5,000. No, you also provide the training, see how best. That is where we partner with GCCI, Chamber of Commerce and all that, and then see how best these businesses can scale up and also connect them with markets, not just within the Gambia but beyond. So it means you have to provide them basic trainings on how to produce products that are fitted for international standards. You know, so these are some of the plans that we have in place that we are currently working on to see how best we can secure that partnerships.
Yeah, okay. One of my obsessions is having clean cities, towns and villages. So when you mention civic engagement, can you please, the next cohort, can you tell them that when they come back, let them engage civically on keeping our environment clean? Because it's not just about aesthetically it looks good. It also means that your health benefits from it if we have a clean environment. If we want to eradicate malaria, it's not going to be through vaccination.
No.
It's through the countries that have done it. They didn't do it with vaccination. They kept their countries clean and they killed off the mosquitoes. We're serious about it. Those are the things that we need to engage civically. But I don't see it happening. We have a civic education, and when they came here, I just blasted them. I was like, what are you doing? You know, that's one of the most basic things. I mean, and the reason I mention this is because yesterday, for a long time, I hadn't seen anybody in a car in front of me throw anything out. and then somebody
Just
threw out
Something.
a newspaper that they'd obviously had some food in, and it nearly came on my windscreen. And I was so furious, I was blowing my horn at them, like, this is ridiculous. Wait till you get to where you're going. You know, so that kind of civic engagement, you know, if we can kind of have more of it, we will all benefit, you know, health-wise and just, you know, in terms of the environment as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think for me, the first thing we need to do is to educate the people to change their attitude, because attitude is something that is creating this problem. If you all know, remember, we have a law in this country, the anti-littering law. We have it, and we have to find a way to enforce this law. And I think that's, I always say to the local government authorities, they are closer to the communities, and then they should be able to enforce these laws. But like you said, our alumni, of course, have been engaged in this kind of cleanings, because some of them, when they come back, their community service is on cleaning. I've joined them, a lot of them, to go to beach cleaning, street cleanings, and things like that. But like you said, in my car, you can't eat and throw it outside. I'll tell you, I'll stop and then you pick it up. So it's for us to change our attitude, but we will continue to talk about it. And I'm very much happy about the initiative that the Q group have taken.
Set out Sunyura.
And this is really something that I think all the private sector can take on and then try to see how best they can work with us as young people and clean our nation.
Thank you, Buba. Thank you. We've exhausted this time already. Thank you, Aisha and Buba, for coming.
Thank you so very much for having us.
We hope to engage you more in the future.
For sure.
And we hope none of the viewers mistook this Buba Fati for Skengman.
Yes, we also have another Buba Fati.
We have Buba Fati.
Yes.
It's not the same.
So thank you
for having
viewers.
us.
We'll be right back after the break. World Autism Awareness Month. I mean, that's what we'll be discussing. We'll be back. Q Money, your ultimate mobile money partner. Cash in now and get credit bonus up to $250. Yes, $250. Need to cash out? Dial *323#, enter your secret PIN and get your one-time password. Give it to any Q Money agent and you are done. Send money to your loved ones with a few taps. Dial *323#, enter the amount and confirm. It's that easy. Top up your cash power on the go. Dial *323#. Register your meter number and receive your token via SMS. Q Money, this is your calpe way to manage your money.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
This is QTV This Morning. Now we head to the last segment. If you're just tuning in, we're calling on sponsors to come and sponsor this program. Currently, we only have one sponsor, that's Q Money Sunyukalpe. Be reminded now, with Q Money, you can send money to any GSM operator. All that you do is to generate your code and send it to the person receiving it at the other end. And the person will just go to the Q Money agent and give them the code. And here the money is cashed out for the individual. Mr.
Indeed, yeah. When I got that text, I was like, wow, you know, because it's a great progress, because previously you had to have just a QCell account, you know.
Yeah.
But now
you don't need a Q Money account. You can generate and send. You know, when you do that. For more information, call Q Money Customer Care on 133. So World Autism Awareness Month, and we have Abdul Majid Jallo, Gambia Autism Support and Advocacy Network National Coordinator, and we have Hadi Yaka. Am I right? Yes, Gambia Autism Support and Advocacy Network volunteer. So, gentlemen and ladies, it's good to have you on the program.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes,
well.
Majid. I mean, we've been texting over the weekend.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, as to the invitation of this program, and you honored it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the network itself before we deal into the month. But
or shall we start by
yes.
telling the viewers what autism is?
Please, please.
So
yeah, sure. Basically, I go by the name again, Abdul Majid. I am the founder and the national coordinator of Gambia Autism Support and Advocacy Network. Gazan is a non-governmental organization that focuses on raising awareness and advocating for the rights of the individual living with autism in this country. Autism, basically, though we term it as a sickness or a disease, or the misconception, the stigmas that surrounds it too much, but autism is just a neurodevelopmental condition that affects the person's behavior, communication, and interaction. These are people that are seeing the world differently from us, how we see in it. Basically, we do term them, they are not normal. Them too, they do term us as we are not normal, because they see the world differently from how us we are seeing.
Okay, so they take us as we are not normal.
Yes, exactly.
Because for them, that is their normality.
Exactly, and us too, that is what we looked at them, that they are not normal, and then that is the two-way thing. But basically, it's not disease what people call it, or even let's say the woman was not a good person, that is why she gave a birth, because the entire blame goes back to the mother. Reason because she is the person who gave birth, but basically it's not only the woman's fault to have that particular kid. And you can determine what the outcome of a kid will be. That is not up to us, that is up to the creator. But basically what we just pray for is to get a kid that works on everything. But why not us we accommodating like any other in the Western world? Look at Elon Musk today coming out to saying that he is a part of the spectrum. And look, Elon Musk is one of the richest man on earth. So what about us? Can we not?
Richest. Currently the richest.
Oh, currently is the richest. Exactly. So basically, if that person can be the richest on earth, what about all Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton? All those are all part of the spectrum. So basically, it's not a disease or whatever. It's just a neurodevelopmental condition, and it's everyone's responsibility to make sure that to understand that autism is not a disease or a sickness. Doesn't need any medication or any marable thing to come into picture, because I know my people, like for example the Jolas, we are very good with that. Once you don't have, it's not okay, we just take him to the other side.
So Hadi, we have you here as a volunteer. What made you want to get involved as a volunteer?
So basically, my name is Honorable Hadi Akajeng, a child parliamentarian. So basically, we are responsible for advocating for the rights of the children, especially children with disabilities. So when I saw Gazan, it was like a place I could actually help, and when it comes to the advocacy as well. So when I saw Gazan and when I saw what they're doing was in line with what I was doing, I saw it was kind of like a space for me to come into. To come into and advocate for something that most of our people don't know about, and that is autism. So when I came into Gazan, I think it widened my knowledge about autism, and I know a few things that I didn't even know actually existed in autism. So I think I came into Gazan because of what I was doing, and also to help my people as well.
So in what does your kind of volunteer work consist of? What have you been doing?
Okay, we've been doing different things. We've been helping in organizing programs, we've been helping in advocacy, we've been helping in creating videos for our TikTok accounts. So mostly what we help is the advocacy part, because we can only use our voice. So we're using our voice to help into helping the people with autism, and to enlighten people more and educate them about autism as well.
Because we've said it's Autism Awareness Month, and so you've talked about raising awareness, getting people to understand. And if anybody watched the Week in Review yesterday, I mentioned that I have a first cousin. In fact, his mother is my dad's sister, and he's autistic. And he was born in 1970, and you can imagine how difficult things were in Sierra Leone then for somebody to have an autistic child. And he had a lot of problems back then. What is the situation now in terms of public perception, awareness, and so on? Because we said Autism Awareness Month.
Yeah, I think basically, though comparing to the last year when we started, though there was a lot of misconception. But looking at this year, at least people have now started understanding, getting a bit information about autism, because when we started, we didn't only stop by organizing programs as well, but we make sure that to visit family members. There was a time that we even visit some family members who will tell you that they don't go out, they don't have any relatives nowadays, because people have already sidelined them, reason because they have that particular kid. And this is why they are not even invited to naming ceremonies or even marriage ceremonies, because people think they're associated with gene. That is why, you know, they had that kid. But basically, with our advocacy and awareness, because we've organized numerous of activities, but as well we focus morely on educational aspect for people to understand what autism is all about and how they can be, how we all can be able to create that inclusive society for these particular kids. With that, we organize a training on inviting journalists, media, you know, health workers, teachers, both the government and the private sectors, stakeholders from both sides, and then brought them together, sat them in a hall, you know, enlighten them about autism and give them the information that they need to know. And what we even did was, that was a very good a success story, I can say, was to tax the media, those journalists that attended the training, to make sure before they go out they write a statement on autism, and then they post it, each one of them. So remember how many people are attended that training, and every person posting that particular information. You know, you don't know, even the person in the URL can be able to get to see it and understand, oh, this is autism, maybe I can relate it to whatever. Maybe in the greater Banjul here now, with our advocacy, people are, because we do receive now a lot of calls from family members, we want to be part of GASAN. Even yesterday we held a program on online program. It was an online program that we invited family members, you know, the public to attend it. It was a very good outcome, and we get to see, we even received a lot of people that joined from the United States. And another woman was even like, I texted you, there was a time I texted you, but you did not reply. Thank God it was not even me that she texted. She texted Kefatu, that she thought that she texted me. So basically, you get to see the level of advocacy that happens with the when we started. You know, it has really helped a lot compared to this year. Now people have gotten bit knowledge about autism, even though they're still in denial, because the acceptance, the therapy that the kid needs starts with the parent. If the parent doesn't accept the kid as part of the spectrum, it becomes hard for the kid to get.
Well, I think the network, I mean, the stand, I mean, to communicate to the public, it's very significant. Let us filter this to biology. I mean, you know, for most of us, we used to have issues of pointing fingers, especially to the Sarahule community. We accuse them of sacrificing most of their children, because most of the Sarahules are wealthy. So we keep pointing fingers at them. They have kids that are not normal at some point. Now I realize, okay, this is not a sacrifice. This is autism at some point, because if you go to most of the Sarahule communities, so does this means, because most of the conditions, they'll tell you, okay, close relatives shouldn't marry at some point. When they marry, it can result to autism or something.
Yeah, because still now the exact cause of autism is still unknown. I remember there was a time that President Trump was asking or taxing the doctors to tell them that, you know what, before this particular month, there should be a medication to be out, and there should be that, you know, you guys need to find out about this. I remember they even brought this acetaminophen, saying that it's part of the, it's a cause of this thing. Though still now, other people in the doctors from the United States don't believe in it, because it was, you know, these people were taxed to work on something in a hurry, and then they just made any statement and just like that. But basically, genetics, they said, is part of the cause, and as well, you know, environmental factors as well contribute to the outcome of the baby, and as well prolonged delivery. Let's say, for example, you go to the labor ward since maybe morning, and then before you get to deliver, or even time of delivery as well, there was some, you know, that because it's the brain, is a neurodevelopmental, that is what they say, the neurodevelopmental.
But those are suspected causes, but they are not established.
Exactly, because still now there is no exact cause of autism. Yes, so as of now.
Because if anybody had been able to identify it, they'll be able to avoid it.
Exactly.
And so we're not there. But one of the things that I've been wanting to ask is that you mentioned this online session that you had yesterday, and I wanted to ask about, in terms of taking it nationally, do you engage with communities, with schools, with colleges and sort of that sort of thing. Is that part of the advocacy that you do?
Maybe I will allow her to talk
Hadi,
about
Honorable
something.
Hadi.
Okay, so that is actually part of our plan in the April Awareness Month. We are planning on having a community engagement where we'll engage, teachers, the imams, journalists, students especially, because I think most of the bullying happens in schools. Exactly. So that is why we are taking it upon ourselves to actually organize a community engagement where we'll take it nationally. We actually want to go nationally, but as of now, we want to do it in the Greater Banjul area where we'll have, community engagements, go to communities in the Greater Banjul area, engage them, teach them more about autism. That is actually part of our, our April Awareness Month plan. Okay. So it's actually part of it, and it's next.
Yeah, just to add up. I think basically, as he said, it's exactly that is why we even thought about bringing the community engagement. Because sometimes, you get to see, okay, it's now being the month of awareness, and it's important. We usually organize program, bring this big, let's say the last year World Autism Awareness, we invited the First Lady, the Minister of Health, Minister of Youth and Sport, Minister of Gender, all of them were in present. And then, they came, give a statement, and then we went. So we didn't go to the communities, though family members attended the program, but you get to see there's a difference when you go to this community, because the entire issues or the stigma is in the community itself. Because if people don't understand, let me just give this quick story. That woman went with 3 kids, all of them are part of the spectrum in the market, and then the kids were taking these tomatoes and throwing it each other. They were seeing it like a normal thing. But basically, you get to see the, parents, our mothers, our grandmothers that were in the market saying that, the woman was literally crying. Because, you get to see, I don't want my kid to be called a mad person. Because for her, she understands. And this is what even caused the woman to stop working. Nowadays, she's now decided she has no maid at home, because all the maids that she brings at home, she put a camera and then she get to see that the maids will beat these kids, and she doesn't like it. So she has decided to stop her career, to focus, because those 3 kids are alone are a career that of its own. So this is why that community engagement came into, because you want to go with this some of the parents that we are working with into each of this community, though we haven't nationalized it yet, because we get to have this fun. If you want to go to URR today, it's not like you just walk up.
Of course, transportation.
I was going to ask about funding, and that's one of the reasons why I asked about taking it nationally, because one of the things that might be holding you back is you can't do it because you don't have the funding. So make an appeal here for funding, please. So that you have a platform.
Yeah, sure. And we are urging to the philanthropists, both philanthropists, government sector, the private sector, whoever is willing to support Gambia Autism Support and Advocacy Network, it's highly welcome. Because to be honest, you might think that whatever awareness that you're doing at the Greater Banjul is impactful, but trust me, if you go to the other side, it's worse out there. Because those people out there, they don't have access to internet, TVs, or this thing. So people don't understand it there. So here, at least, no matter what, you will have a friend who knows, who has a TV at home, and there is maybe did not talk to understand about autism, and the woman can go and translate other. But what about the other woman that doesn't have even light at home? Exactly. The person is not getting this information.
I can remember there was, I think 2 years back, there was a lady that called me from Kiang. She got this autistic child, and she said to me, Ibrahima, I don't even go to events. Ibrahima, if I cook, people don't eat my food because of my child, because they think this is gene related. So people see me as a person who shouldn't, So what happened is, I think at some point I linked her with one of the...
Yeah, we are working with her. That is Kani.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think, yes, so this is it. The mindset should change. I mean, these are people that are part of the society. They need to be cared for. They need to be taken care. I mean, at some point, some people will even not take their kids to school at some point because of their condition. Yes.
No, because it's it's simply sometimes for me I don't blame the parents of not taking the kid, because let's say we have Methodist as a government school that is focusing on these disability kids and so on. But now let's say an introvert autistic child being put in a 20 people class, in an environment of, let's say you expect that kid to get the same learning pattern with any other kid, whereby in them you get to see that one that has issues in terms of being with people or even interacting with people or even focusing. And now let's say you take that particular kid in that classroom and you sat that kid from morning to all the private school that we have visited. You get to see that there's a 1 hour class, then after 1 hour they allow them to go, walk around, because they're in their own world. So they take a walk and then come back, and then from 12 to 1 o'clock they go for a nap. This is what we even advise some of the parents that we visited. We ask them whether those that's a concept that we have, and we should not do, because their brain, they overuse their brain. That is why in them you get to see when we are about to make let's say we are taxed with a decision, or we want to make a solution of a particular thing, we take like 1 hour thinking about what do we do, what are we doing. But in them you sat them down, they will just sit and just within 10 seconds they are done with that decision, and then you are there thinking like an entire taking 1 hour and so on. So basically it's I think this is why some of the parents, because some of the parents you visit and they will tell you so they make school so do they janga do they just ben impact and man dama dem ci classe ma gis teacher bang ko tek ci corner bi fele mu ne mom do they concentrate, do they lifin, do they wax, do they lifin dara. So this is why, because the educational system have not catered them like most in the government side. Though in the private we have people that are from the United States and UK, 2 private schools owned by these 2 countries, and then they have this particular class. They're focusing on them, the neuro and the autistic kids, the Down syndrome, all this neurodevelopmental condition part of kids.
Thank you, Majid. Thank you very much, Hadi, for coming. We've exhausted
time
this
has
segment's
beaten
time
us.
already, and we hope people will understand. This is just a condition, it doesn't mean, it's something that's going to affect the people in the environment at some point.
And just before we let Abdul go, if you could just tell us, are there any specific things, we've covered a couple of events already, are there any specific events that you would want the public to be aware of during this month?
Yeah, sure. That is the football, the community engagement, and then we organizing as well a charity football game where we planning to do with the PST Galaxy Steve and friends, and then with the Minister of Youth and Sport with friends. It's a charity football game, bringing these people.
Do we have a date already?
Raise awareness. No, we've just tasked them to look at a convenient date, because some of them are playing in the league and so on.
Right.
And then we have the last but not the least, which is a symposium, which we are planning to do, bringing from the parliament to the government, the parliament to the or the ministerials as well, to come and sit down, talk with, have a conversation with these parents, because we get to realize that some of these parents will tell you, create environment for us to go and sit with these people and ask them questions and so on. Because if they ask us some of the questions, we will be like, we are doing our part. Because if you look at the entire Gassan team, we are not even directly working with, it's not our profession, but it's just something that we are passionate about. Personal myself, seeing it in East Africa, and then came back to this country, getting to see that there is no one focusing on it. I was like, it's a responsibility as a young person to start something.
Thank you very much. So we've exhausted this time already. Thank you, gentleman and lady, for coming on the program. So viewers, this is all we have for today. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.